Miami Condo Mondays is a live podcast on the first workday of the week at 4 p.m. South Florida time. The program features former journalist and current Wall Street consultant Peter Zaleski of the Miami Condo Investing Club and former lender and veteran condo broker Jenny Huertas of CVRRealty.com. Recorded weekly in greater downtown Miami, this 1-hour discussion will provide a refreshing and sometimes controversial perspective on the state of the South Florida condo market from a pair of seasoned real estate professionals who do not always agree. The program won't tell you what to think about the South Florida condo market, but will give you something to think about before buying, selling, taking listings, or financing units. This podcast is not authorized by the Miami real estate industry and will quite possibly annoy many of its figureheads. Welcome to this week's episode of Miami Condo Mondays, broadcast live on the social media accounts of Peter Zaleski and Jenny Huertas.
Happy Monday, Miami. This is Miami Condo Mondays, a real estate podcast about what's going on in the Tri-County, South Florida area of Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. Today, we're going to be talking about the best condo market in all the land, all of South Florida. You know where it is? Downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. While the rest of South Florida is in a buyer's market, what you're seeing in West Palm Beach Island, is a seller's market. A seller's market. When's the last time we heard that? We haven't heard that since 2021, 2022, 2023, even parts of 2024. I'm Peter Zaleski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. I'm joined here by my partner, my co-host, no one else but the broker owner of CVR Realty. Her name is Jenny Huertas. Check out her website, cvrrealty.com. Jenny, downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island are actually in a seller's market. Advantage seller. When's the last time you heard that?
Very long time ago. That's definitely a sign of the times.
A sign of the times. While the rest of South Florida is unraveling, we're actually seeing some strong demand for condos in downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. Jenny, I wonder why. Why would downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island be suddenly so hot? Does it have to do with the fact that there's less condos? Does it have to do with the fact that Vanderbilt University, they're going to be setting up a campus downtown West Palm Beach? Vanderbilt, if you don't know, is basically like call it the Harvard of the SEC. And the SEC, we're not talking about the Securities and Exchange Commission. No. We're talking about the football conference, the Southeast Conference. So the Harvard of the Southeast Conference. I don't know how impressive the academics are in the Southeast Conference, but that's a different story. But Vanderbilt, the best university in terms of reputation, they are setting up a campus in downtown West Palm Beach to try to promote, advance the overall development, evolution of downtown West Palm Beach. Jenny, could it be that? Do you think it's Vanderbilt University coming to downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island that's driving it? Or is it all the marketing that's been going on about Wall Street South? There's been a real initiative, especially since the pandemic, since 2021, 2022, 2023, when you didn't have to wear a mask in Florida. Blue states, they mandated masks. Down in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis said you don't need it. And you can work from home. And if you went to Miami Beach, you could twerk on a police car. Jenny, you think that has something to do with it? The Wall Street South positioning of downtown West Palm Beach is Wall Street South. Any or all of those have to do with it? Or is there maybe another topic or another factor where, we're not considering? At least we haven't identified yet.
Well, the factor that you are not considering, everybody listening to this, is money, power. When the money and the power get together, they tend to, get together very tightly. And since Palm Beach had the potential because of the wealth, historically, to become a sort of upscale, money market, then there you have it. Also, there's not a lot of development on that fence in the last 20 years or so. And it's neither a lot of land on the east side of Palm Beach. So altogether makes scarcity means people wanted to go there. There is nothing, then seller's market. It's a perfect scenario for create a seller's market in an economy like this one. It's pretty a sign of the time.
Let me give you the wild card in all this. The wild card is the Mar-a-Lago effect. And what do I mean by Mar-a-Lago effect? President Donald Trump tends to spend almost every weekend down on Palm Beach Island, where he has his estate. He has his club, hotel as well. He's spending every weekend down there. Jenny, you know what's happening? Everybody's flooding in to be around the power structure of downtown West Palm Beach Island. And if you don't know, Palm Beach Island is a barrier island, and it is a very wealthy enclave. You go over a short little bridge, and on the other side, you get into downtown West Palm Beach. And as a result of that, people are flooding into the area. And as they flood into the area, they're bidding up condo prices. Now, there's not as much quantity there. You got some new towers going up, but this really seems to be the place to be. This really seems like its moment. So while the rest of South Florida is struggling, whether it be Fort Lauderdale, it be Miami, Greater Downtown Miami, it be Miami Beach, it be the Gables, Coral Gables, all of them are struggling. Not downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. Jen, we're going to get into all the numbers. We're going to walk people through it. This is something we documented probably, I don't know, a good 8-9 months ago when we brought up the Mar-a-Lago effect. Again, the idea is President Trump is there, the power structures around there, and more people are coming into the area, and it's playing off of all the other factors we laid out. A, amount of quantity. B, Vanderbilt University coming in there. And C, this whole push of a Wall Street South. There's an initiative right now by Stephen Ross, the guy who owns the Miami Dolphins. He's a big New York developer. He came down here a few years back and started building in a big way. He is pushing West Palm Beach as Wall Street South. And the idea is people can leave Mayor Mamdani up in New York City, who's a Democratic socialist, and he wants to tax everybody to death. And they can move down to Florida where there's no state income tax, and they can set up shop in West Palm Beach. That's what's being pitched by Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, as well as developer who's got a bunch of land holdings in downtown West Palm Beach. Couple that with a guy called Ken Griffin from Citadel, big hedge fund, and they are pushing Miami. So between the two of them, they're trying to basically poach all these wealthy individuals, get them the heck out of New York or the Northeast, have them come down here and ultimately sell them product or have them invest and try to build this ecosystem, if you will, basically to compete with Wall Street. Jenny, don't forget a few years back, Ken Griffin from Citadel, he made a comment that Miami would replace, it would supplant, it would step into the place of Wall Street. And Wall Street up in New York City is going to be nil, and it'll all be come down to Miami and South Florida. Jen, we're a few years into it. Has Wall Street lost its luster, and is Miami and West Palm Beach, are they stealing it away? Are they poaching it away? What's your initial reaction?
Yeah, they can try. But Wall Street is going to be there. It would be probably like, some sort of cluster of banks or fund or whatever. Yes, they are already here. They are the people that are buying basically the luxury product, which is still rent, still sales, but that's why they are building on this 4 million and up type of product. And in Palm Beach, since there is not a lot of land, they had to do new towers. When we saw new towers in Palm Beach 10 years, 15 years ago, it was like, it's just a bunch of mansions for the super rich, and that was it. Now they want to create that. They'll, as you always say, the remaining question is this going to hold up for how long?
Is this going to hold up and for how long? Yeah, the unanswered question is. That's always how I sort of put it when you go ahead and you're looking at it. Just to give everybody a little bit of history of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. So there was a guy called Henry Flagler. He was partners with a guy called John D. Rockefeller. They set up Standard Oil. Henry Flagler ran the logistics, getting all the oil all over, getting it distributed. And John D. Rockefeller was handled the other stuff. Ultimately, Henry Flagler, old man Flagler, before he retires, one of his, I think it was a captain on one of his boats, was out, spotted some dirt, and sent a message to Flagler. I think Flagler came down and visited himself and ultimately bought what would be Palm Beach Island. And when he bought Palm Beach Island, he then put together what ultimately was the first step at this destination tourism, where basically you could get on one of his trains, because he ended up building his own railroad, basically going down the east coast of Florida. Ultimately, he took it down to the Florida Keys. but he would have a train stop and he would build a hotel. So he built a hotel called the Breakers. Breakers located on Palm Beach Island, brought in a bunch of Bahamians and others to do the work and put in place an ordinance that said people of a certain look and race and other things, they couldn't be on the island. After dark, they had to be on the mainland. Hence, you get West Palm Beach on the other side of what ultimately would become a causeway. So on the Atlantic side, Atlantic Ocean side, you would have Palm Beach Island. This was going to be for the exclusive. And then you'd have an intercoastal separating the two. And then on the mainland side would be all the workers. Henry Flagler put his stamp on it. A few years later, you get Julia Tuttle out of Miami working along with William Brickell and Mary Brickell. They send word up to Flagler. Flagler decides to go ahead and take a look after there's a freeze. Miami, supposedly it goes, there's an orange blossom, the flower's still in place. They send it to Flagler to show them that Miami's weather is different. Ultimately, he sends the spotters down. They like what they see. They bring the rail down to Miami, set up a hotel right at the tip of North Shore of the Miami River, right now where the Aston Martin is, somewhere in and around there, maybe the Hotel Intercontinental. That whole area is where the Royal Palms goes, and ultimately takes the train all the way down to Key West. But really, Palm Beach Island was a place that Henry Flagler sort of banked on when he initiated this destination tourism, where you would get people coming from the north, they get on the trains and they would end up at his hotels. They would spend all their money and they would kind of do what they did. So Flagler, Palm Beach Island, West Palm Beach, it's got a real tight connection, Jen, when you look at Florida history and lore.
Yeah, it's amazing history. Thank you, Peter, for that history lesson. I cannot, every time I hear you, I don't know how do you have this hard disk on your head and you remember all these details, but it's always amazing to hear back. And I guess Palm Beach got a little bit small for what the development of the cities happened with the years, and Miami was a more natural place to grow because we have more land here and the river and all that became more, like populated than Palm Beach. And it's still the same because Palm Beach that's a hub so many people, has a lot of money per capita because of the millionaires, of billionaires, because millionaires, everybody has to be a millionaire to acquire something in Miami. Now we're talking about billionaires. So with the big.
Now we're talking about billionaires. Yeah. And what I'm going to do, everybody, I'm going to pull up a map just to give everybody some perspective. Let me go ahead and share my screen. You guys will get a sense of what we're talking about here. So let me pull this up. And let me see if I can share this with you all. Bear with me. Where is my cursor? Looking for it. 1 second. Bear with me. Hold on. I got a bunch of different screens open here, so I need to find it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. There we go. Share. We're going to show you the map. Here we go, everybody. You guys can see the map. So let me zoom out. All right. So we all see South Florida. This is all going to be South Florida. This will ultimately be the Bahamas. That's all the Bahamas. Down here is here's Key West. That's where Flagler brought his tracks. Up here is going to be Miami. Then we're going to get into West Palm Beach. So here we go, everybody. You guys can see West Palm, and this is Palm Beach Island.
Yeah.
Just to give you guys a sense. So Atlantic Ocean here, then you're going to have the Intercoastal, and ultimately you're going to have downtown West Palm Beach. So first and foremost, you guys are going to see here, if you notice this airport, it's got a new name. It's called President Donald J. Trump International, Jen. So this is going to be the airport. And when you leave the airport, Jen, it's kind of interesting. You get on a road, and ultimately that road is going to take you into West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. It will take you to West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. And the place you enter it into is called Southern Boulevard. You see Southern Boulevard over here, Jen? That's going to be this main road here. Let's see where we can get something there. It actually says Southern Boulevard. There you go. You see the Southern Boulevard? Oh, now they show me Mary's. Yeah. Oh, they got a Flanagan's there. Okay, didn't realize. So that is the airport. Airport's right here. Then you're going to come down on the Southern Boulevard, and you're going to go on and on and on. And then you're going to see here, you're going to have the Intercoastal. Now, when you get on the other side of the Intercoastal, this will be downtown West Palm Beach. Get on the other side of the Intercoastal, and the road's going to split. So if you were to go to the left, you're going to go north. If you go to the right, you're going to go south towards Delray Beach. And if you continue on, John, what do we run into? Mar-a-Lago. Here it is right here, everybody. It's on both sides. This is Mar-a-Lago. This is where President Trump spends his time. This is where he has hosted leaders from around the world for the different events. So this will be Mar-a-Lago. You can see he's got his bath club part of it, and then he's also got the other estate part of it. So this is where it's all set up. And for anybody's interested, not to talk politics, but there's a guy called Jeffrey Epstein. His house was right over here. They tore it down, but that's a different story. But anyways, so this is Mar-a-Lago, and this is where he sets it up. Now, if you guys were to continue north, you're going to get into the famous parts of Palm Beach Island. It'll all be up here. There's a famous guy called Addison Meisner. They named a mall after him in Boca Raton because that's a city or basically in a development he set up. Addison Meisner. He was an architect. He set it up. He's somebody who's credited with the Spanish Mediterranean revival style of architecture, which a lot of people tend to associate it with South Florida, whether you're in Hollywood, Florida, you're in Miami, Florida, you're anywhere. A lot of people are going to all sort of associate it with that. Sorry about that. I'm getting a call. Everybody is going to associate that with Addison Meisner. And he did this over here called Villa Vizcaya. This is where he's got his little setup. It's a whole, nope, that's the street. Sorry about that. Let me get to the downtown area. Kind of going on the fly here. Where is downtown? Bear with me. It'll be right off of the causeway. Where is the causeway? Royal Park. Okay. That's going to be up here. Sorry, I was too far south. Here we go. So this is going to be downtown. This will be downtown Palm Beach Island. You guys will see there's a little bit of a median. That's where they got like a city hall. They got like a library. This is where the real money of Palm Beach County sort of hangs out. This is where they live. And Via Meisner should be right over here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it for everybody. Sorry about that. I'm sort of juggling things here. Carriage House, Phipps Park. And now it's up here where the road splits. Bear with me. Bear with me. There's a point to all of this. Let's see. Town Hall. Yeah, there's a town hall. Where is Via Meisner? Blanking here on this, everybody. This is
that's where the train arrives, right? It's in Meisner when you get in the train. No.
No. This was a development that was put up by Addison Meisner. It still stands. So it's Royal Palm, and as soon as you get in, you're going to hang a right. I'll tell you what. While we look for that, let me show you the breakers. This is the hotel that Henry Flagler built. It's still in place. You guys can see he's still got the golf course. Golf course. So this is going to be the Breakers Hotel right over here. It's a grand hotel. You guys can see it's got the entrance. Here's the hotel. They host all kinds of events. Says it's reviews are like 4.6. But you guys can get a sense here. See the massive size. And again, you got the causeway that's going to bring you into it. So basically, there's 3 causeways taking you into Palm Beach Island. This would be the North Causeway, which is going to be called Flagler Memorial. No, here we go. Quadrille Boulevard. So that causeway takes you in over to 1. Then you're going to have the main one, which is Royal Park. So when you come in here off of downtown West Palm Beach, everybody, it comes off of Okeechobee Boulevard. This is called Clear Lake. This would be Interstate 95. And if we go way out, Jen, way out, we're going to run into the Everglades. We're going to run into all of the sugar. You guys have heard of Big Sugar. You've heard of the Fanjuls, a family that came over after Castro got into Cuba. They own a lot of sugar in and around here. So this is all where all the sugar stuff is going to be going, right off of Okeechobee Road.
Okeechobee.
Yeah, and Lake Okeechobee.
Lake Okeechobee?
Yep, and then that'll be Lake Okeechobee. See how you got Lake Okeechobee? Then you got Okeechobee Road. It will bring you right in. And as you come in through all the agriculture, you guys can make it up on the map, all the agriculture. Now we start to get into some of the developments. These are mostly gated communities. You'll continue onward, and ultimately you will run into what is going to be downtown West Palm Beach, which is right over here. This is President Donald J. Trump Airport. This is going to be Mar-a-Lago right over here. Jeffrey Epstein's house was over here. And then you're going to have the downtown part of Palm Beach Island. That's going to be located somewhere right in here. Let's see. That'll be right in here. And then this is Henry Flagler's hotel. So that's kind of how it all comes together and kind of makes sense. But I wanted everybody to get a sense. So if we were to do a zoom in on downtown West Palm Beach, one thing you guys are going to notice, there's not a lot of high rises. In fact, one thing you'll notice right in the heart of downtown West Palm Beach, which is where this is, you got a cemetery. John, look at the size of this cemetery. This cemetery is massive. Massive.
Yeah,
we have a lot of, here you go. I don't know if you can make that out, but yeah, here's a cemetery. It's called the Woodlawn Cemetery. That is a massive cemetery located right in the heart of downtown West Palm Beach. We got some new condos that have gone up. Not really a lot of density. You got a performing arts center over here. They used to have a big mall over here called City Place, but they've since torn a lot of it down. And then ultimately the train tracks, which everybody arrives into for West Palm Beach, they're going to be over here. You got to see, you can still catch Tri-Rail here. You also have Brightline. Brightline comes in. That's the private rail. That's going to take you a little bit further east. It's going to let you off somewhere in and around here. Just to give you a sense, let's see if we can find the tracks. Yep, there's the tracks right there. They will drop you off, right by the courthouse. So this is going to be the Brightline station in and around here for Brightline if you want to take the private rail. So that's kind of a glimpse of downtown West Palm Beach, everybody. But what are you going to notice when you go to downtown West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island? Well, you know what? Let's do a little glimpse of Palm Beach Island. Palm Beach Island is interesting. Remember, when you see the big green space, that's the golf course. That's Henry Flagler's premier resort. And that's why he brought the train down. And ultimately, he brought it down to Miami because of Julia Tuttle and William and Mary Brickell dedicating land so he could come down here and build it. And he bought the train and ultimately went down to Key West. But if we zoom in, everybody, on some of this Palm Beach stuff, you guys are going to see it is all, well, it's exclusive. It's all low rise. It's all small. There's nothing of substance. There's nothing of tonnage like you're going to find in Miami. It's virtually just all low scale. So, when you get into luxury, primarily the way you promote luxury is with low density. Supply demand, the less supply you have, the more demand in theory you can build, and therefore you can justify sort of some of the prices. So there's not really a history of condos, especially in West Palm Beach. They built some during the run up to the Great Recession. Ultimately, it didn't end very well. You had some buildings up there that had what was called back at the time Chinese drywall, where this drywall, because there was such a demand for building materials because of Hurricane Katrina and all of the damage that was created as a result of the hurricanes back in 04, 05. People started going elsewhere trying to find product and this drywall came in. And it turns out it was built with all kinds of materials that cause all kinds of rusting and corrosion and other things in building. And at the time, they called it Chinese drywall. There were a bunch of lawsuits associated with it. And, it led to all kinds of problems during which would become the Great Recession. But in downtown West Palm Beach, you had cases of that. You have cases that were documented. You had buildings that ran into all kinds of financial difficulty and struggles because of a whole combination